Welcome to today's video, guys, where I'm talking about my 2021 Landcruiser Prado. It's pretty much the final video of the, first part of the build, and I'm going to be showing you guys absolutely everything that's in the car and on the car as well. And yeah, we'll get stuck into it. We're out camping at the moment, so it's going to be a little bit loud. There's going to be birds going off and all sorts of things, but it's a good time, so stick around. Now, for those of you that have been following the build, you would know that this car, this whole build, is so that I can do a lot of traveling and so I can go and see Australia, but you know, mostly North Australia because we have so much to see here. And a big part of what I do is photography, so that's why, hence the name, North Oz Photography. So I do a lot of photography videos, so power for me is a big part of what I'm doing. Power, lighting, all that sort of stuff, and getting to where I need to go. So that's what the build's all about, and convenience as well. So let's get started with the very top here. On the very top I've got a Rhinorack platform. I'll put the dimensions up on the screen for you for what it is. Fits very nicely. You can see that kind of stops right at the top of the roof and ends here at the top of the roof as well. And on the Rhinorack I've got some mounts up here for them. I'll put up again the name of that product as well. No product affiliations, but just good products, you know. So I'll keep rattling off as many of these as I can as we're going. I've also got some STEDI lights as well here on STEDI mounts that just go onto, they kind of clip on each side of the hole here, and they are wired into the car as well, and I'll give you a little bit of a demonstration how it's wired in. I've got a solar panel, and if we have a look at the solar panel, we'll go around the other side. As you can see, there's no bull bar or anything on this car. And if we go around the side, you can see that it is actually not plugged in at all, okay? I've got this little external outlet there where I can connect up my battery from the back all the way up to here using a longer cord. Now, the reason for that is it's very difficult to get a cord this thick into the car without making it look too noticeable. And I'll show you what the wiring setup looks like very shortly. If you want in-depth details about everything, just go ahead and check out all of the detailed build episodes I've done. That will really help you guys. And in case you've noticed, I'm talking to you guys from behind the camera because that's what you've come to see. So I'm not going to be showing my head too much in this video. Sorry. So let's keep moving. We've got a 23.0 shower tent. It's all right. It does what it's supposed to do, but quality on it's meh. It's not that great. And all the STEDI products as well, just speaking honestly, like, they're not very well thought out. They require a bit of effort from you, so just keep that in mind. You will have to do things like put double nuts on things because certain things don't line up, and you'll have to do a bit of your own thinking when it comes to that sort of stuff. In regards to the solar panel, that's just one that I had on my old car. I'll probably switch to something a little bit more streamlined later, but that was on my old Navara build, which I've done a whole series on as well. And on the front here, I've got a big STX STEDI light bar, which has got daytime running lights, which will need to be hooked up soon. And but this actually, does work. The whole light bar works, and it is quite a nice, pretty spot beam. That one, I was a bit surprised it didn't spread out as much, but it's really throws the light a long way into the night. And just around the car, I've got stock rims and tires, stock rails on there as well. And for the back, I saw no better option than a Sunseeker Dome 1300. And as you can see, yes, it is a dome. There's plenty of room for me under here. As you can see, this is not even set up to its highest level there, but it can fit, people a lot taller than me under here, such as my friend Alex in the back there. And one more thing I've got on here is I've got 2 sets of these mounts. Now, I put these in a little bit later on because the original mounts that they had made it set up really high. It wasn't a really good look. So what I did is I went out and bought these bat wing mounts, and I kind of drilled out some of the holes in them just so they sat really flat. And also too, they held in really well with those 2 bolts. So that was something that I was really looking for. And I did the same thing here. Again, I had to do a little bit of modification to those brackets just to make sure that they sat down a little bit lower. But they sit really flush. Instead of it sitting up here like that, it kind of sits a little bit further down. So really good, really happy with that. And again, I've got a set of lights on there as well. And if you want more detail about the electrical setup on here, I do have a separate video for that. so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just in here I've got my 2 switches there. Sorry you can't see very well, but in there I've got my 2 switches there, and they work those lights that are on the outside. Nice, convenient, easy to use. I might get 2 more switches set up for the back as well, so I can control the same thing. Makes a lot of sense to have control that from the back as well. I'm just figuring that out now, but it's very convenient to be just there, especially if I'm looking for campsites at night time. We just chuck those on and we'll be able to very quickly and easily see where our campsite is. Okay, turning our attention to the interior of the car now, and this is kind of what it looks like as I'm just, you know, going on longer trips and doing some camping. Heaps of water in the doors there, which is always really good. I've got my Garmin InReach Mini here, which is just turning off because I just turned on the car, so it just automatically turns on and off. It's got heaps of stuff, heaps of features such as preset messages, which I can send unlimited of because I'm with Optus and I get very limited coverage. Second we start going out of, you know, the city, start losing, you know, coverage straight away. So it's just handy to have, and it's just hooked up to here, which again I had mounted up as well. A kind of like a constant, it's an accessory switch is what it is. So the second I turn on the accessories, you know, I make sure that I've got power to whatever device I want to hook up to. It's just a little USB. Again, I just bought that from STEDI and got some blokes to hook it up for me. Same thing with these lights there as well. And over here as well, I've got my light bar switch too, which isn't anything fancy. It's just a light bar switch and that's it. I've got my USB in here, which is what I just chuck my phone into the top here when I can get the top out. But anyway, there it is. And I put my phone up there and it just stays up there. That way it's not inside or anything like that. And I've just chucked that in here. It's just some of my bedding. I'm not going to use it. I don't have any passengers and it's really hot here. So yeah, I'm not going to use it. Summertime in the tropics. What do you expect, you know? But yes, that's pretty much it for the interior. I also keep my big camera that I'm using right now to film. I keep that in here as well, just so everything's within my reach, and I just keep some hand sanitizer wipes in there as well, which is very handy when camping, as all our campers will know. And on the covers here, the seat covers all throughout this car, I've got these shark skin ones, which yeah, they're good. You know, they're poly whatever it is, and they are basically a wetsuit, you know, so you can put water on them and the water just beads off. Okay, and I'll chuck a little bit of water on here so you can see what it does. And as you can see, it just kind of beads on there, so that's pretty cool. So that pretty much does it for the interior of the car. Not really too much going on. I'm gonna install a little camping GPS as well. Whether it's a mount for my phone, I get an app or something, I need to do something about my GPS setup, but this has a satellite GPS in it anyway, so that's been kind of useful for now. Just been experimenting with that a little bit. But yeah, so let's move on to the back of the car, which is pretty much you know, the hub of the home, I suppose you'd call it. It's pretty much where I've got everything that I use, and I need to have everything accessible to me at all times from there. Okay, moving to the back of the car now. This is kind of what it looks like on a normal camping setup. So I'll start at the very top. I've got some more KAON products. So again, that KAON product is the same company that makes the MAXTRAX holders at the top. So I've got my KAON roof, I guess it's kind of a roof rack. It's more of an interior roof rack than anything. And it's good, it's got this checker pattern underneath it, so I can use lots of these clotheslines I got from BCF. Very helpful. I can loop things like my head torches and stuff on there, and I can also use some molly packs as well, which are really good for just keeping things. That's for the dog. That's got a little collapsible dog bowl and some dog food and stuff in case of an emergency. Some emergency pills and stuff as well for her because she takes medication. So yeah, just, you know, a good little storage space I've got on its lowest setting. And it's enough to get things like thick jackets and stuff. I don't take a like a luggage bag or anything with me, a duffel bag with my clothes in it. I keep it all up here, just keeps it all up and out of the way. It's one less bag to carry. I've also got some Terralume Industries. They are an amber light and they are kind of hooked up, and I can just take them on and off with this here, and it just tucks up there like that. And you know, the point of that is so that I can still use my slide, so I can bring my fridge slide out like this and it will stretch, so it's a bungee cord. And also to you know, this Terralume company, they are from what I could tell, are the only ones that make a solid amber light that's not RGB, because RGB requires, you know, all sorts of, you know, stuffing around with things like controllers and extra wiring and stuff. So just made it real simple, hooked them up there like that, just use some zip ties so I can position them wherever I want. I'm still experimenting with this setup, but you know, seems to be going well so far. And then I can just flick it on and off whenever I want. So just like that. I've also got an extra little torch up here, which I can just strap up there too, which is kind of good. So yeah, so extra little things, which always helps. Now, this is one of the first things that I bought actually for this car, which is a KAON rear table, and it's going to be filthy because I didn't pack a plate for this trip, and it serves as my plate. So it's got a few crumbs and stuff on it, but that's what it's supposed to be used for. Not a plate, but for cutting things up on. And within here as well, I've just got a few little things like, just some extra stuff like the tie down points. For this, which I didn't actually say in the end, I've got a tie down for my swag, which I can put on the top when I'm carrying lots of people. So these 4 points there can carry heaps of weight, and they're very, very helpful because I went on a trip with my brother and my nephew, and you'll be surprised, well, I was surprised anyway, at how much stuff you know, we had to pack for that trip for 3 people, and the roof rack was a necessity. So I've also got, I might just chuck on this little light here, which is why I bought it. So in here as well, guys, I've got a strap to this roof here. I bought this as well from the KAON people, and it is a quick fist. What do you call it? That's all it is. It's a quick fist. I think it's a shovel holder, but it can hold anything, and it holds my axe. So that is a splitting axe. It's a Fiskars splitting axe, and it does exactly what it says on the packet. It splits wood, and it's very good at what it does. And I need to use it more, but anyway, but yeah, and so that stuff's kind of useful. I always keep up here as well. That is the Anderson cable that goes between here, and it's actually down there in my little cubby in there, and it goes from the solar input to the solar panel on the side. So I can just kind of run that out, or I can pop open this window here and kind of snake it down the bottom if I don't want to get too much rain into my car, which has been happening, you know, with how much rain we've had in the last couple of days, which has been weird. So the other thing I guess we should talk about is the battery. That is by a company called Voltax. So that is a Voltax 100 amp hour lithium battery. I had that in my previous setup. Didn't cost me too much money, something like 400 and something bucks. A lot of people say that, you know, lithium batteries are, you know, unreasonably expensive, but that one was not, and it's been doing the job so far. So I'm very happy with that. That's just on a, a battery box that I just picked up from, I think it was BCF or something like that. And it's got a voltage meter reading on the outside, which is pretty much useless for lithium batteries. I've also got a smart shunt in there as well by Victron, which can tell me how much battery I've got left. It still requires a little bit of setting up. I still need to, you know, get some of the parameters correct on it, but it will tell me how much battery I've used up, which is going to be very useful, and give it to me as a percentage as well, which is very helpful. And I can figure out as well, you know, how much power I'm using at any given point in time. In here, I've got my drawers. So this is an XTM drawer, which costs $2.99. I pretty much just installed this. I installed it using the factory mounting point. So there's 2 on here in the back of the Prado. So there's actually 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I strapped it down to the 2 points on the far left, and I also made down here, next to all my dirty laundry pretty much, is another point that I made on here as well, and I actually drilled that into a steel bracket that is at the back of the seat. And so that's been holding up quite well. It's been moving around a little bit on some rough roads, but so far hasn't been too bad. You know, it's not as good as a $2,000 drawer, but it definitely holds everything as much as I need anyway. It's doing the job for now. In the actual drawer itself, I've got my, you know, it's just my wet pack, you know, it's got all my stuff in it, toothbrush, all that stuff, soap. And here is my GSI Outdoors. It is a, it's a pretty cool little setup. Some knives, so bread knife, basically meat knife and a paring knife. It's got as well, and it's got a cutting board in here as well, a washing cloth, and it's got a sea to summit, well, this is what I put in there, sorry. It's got a sea to summit knife, fork, and a spoon. So that just tucks away all nice and neat and goes into here. And I've also got a few of my own little things in there as well for this trip, such as my camera charger, which goes onto my inverter here. It's a Dometic inverter. I've just got attached to the side there, and I can just plug that in whenever I need to. And, you know, things like my reading glasses and stuff like that, which you guys don't really care about. So we'll get moving on to the next thing. I've got my tool roll, I've got my spanner set, and I've also got a socket set underneath there, and I've also got my shower as well, which I haven't had to use because there's been showers at all of the camps so far, but it does work. I tested it, so far so good. And the fridge slide. So this is the fridge slide that I've got. It just sits on top of the XTM drawer, and it does come with the XTM drawer as well. And this is the Brassmonkey fridge freezer, so you can make it either a fridge or a freezer. And I've done numerous videos on this, and yeah, overall it's a good freezer for the money, and it keeps all my things cold, so works out quite well. It's a very nice luxury to have. I'm very fortunate to have a fridge and fridge freezer in here. This is just one of my backpacks that I just have ready to go in case we need to go for a little bit of a hike or something. I can just chuck some stuff in there. And you know, guys, I think that's pretty much it. I think we're getting towards the end of it, so let's wrap this up. So guys, that's just about everything that I've got on the Prado, and I'm sure I've missed something, but that's pretty much where it sits at the moment. It's pretty much going to stay like this for quite a while. Yeah, sure, there's some things that I'd like to get, things like you know, a nice drawer setup, get the rear seats out of here because they're still there, put a nice drawer setup in there, but that's going to be expensive. I'd love to do a lift on it, but again, expensive. I'd love to do tires, but again, expensive. I love to do a bull bar, but again, expensive. So if I want to do all that at the one time, we'll probably be close to around 10-12 grand, and you know, just don't have the money for that. So to do it all one time. So for now, I'm very happy with this setup. Can't really call it a budget setup because it's, you know, on a brand new car, but in terms of, I think, the stuff that I got for the car, I think the products are either high quality or they do the job for the money. And you know, I would like to say, you know, buy it once, kind of buy it right, sort of a thing. But you know, with a lot of things like drawers and that, if you're just getting a $200-300 set of drawers, I mean, you can't really compare that to a $3,000 set of drawers, you know. So sometimes there's compromises, is what I'm trying to say. And I think I've, you know, ridden that line pretty well with this setup. So you know, if you have any questions or anything like that about the build that I did, obviously, you know, it is based around being able to do some travel and photography and stuff. I can charge up all my stuff on here using this. I've got my USB inputs and stuff, which I didn't really talk about. I've got my inverter there as well, so I can charge up all my camera gear. But you know, if you have any questions about the build, just let me know, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.